All right, shipmates, let's keep it a buck and get straight to the point. Today we're talking about Charles Thomas, Secretary of the Navy from May 3rd, 1954 to April 1st, 1957. Now, some of y'all might be wondering, what does this ranking even matter? Well, let me break it down for you. The Secretary of the Navy isn't just some ceremonial position. They're responsible for recruiting, training, equipping the fleet, managing the budget efficiently, and staying locked in with the President and the SecDef's strategic vision. In short, they're the ones steering the ship to make sure the Navy can fight and win. No questions asked. Charles Thomas served under President Eisenhower during the Cold War, a time when the stakes couldn't have been higher. Today, we're going to evaluate him using 5 key metrics: recruitment, training, and personal readiness. Equipping the Navy, aligning to the presidential policies, and budget efficiency. Now, let's dive in and see where Thomas stands. First up is recruitment. This is the lifeline of the Navy. Without new sailors, we're sunk. During Thomas's tenure, recruitment pipeline stayed steady. He made sure we had the manpower needed to keep up with the Cold War demands. But here's the thing, he didn't innovate. No game-changing programs, no outside-the-box thinking to tap into untapped talent. It was business as usual. Steady, sure. Exceptional, no. That's why Thomas gets a 6 out of 10 here. Reliable, but nothing to write home about. Next, let's talk about training and personnel readiness. This is where we take those recruits and turn them into warfighters. Thomas made sure the Navy stayed sharp during a post-Korean War stabilization period. He focused on training for nuclear-powered vessels and carrier strike groups, which is big in a Cold War context. But, and it's a big but, he didn't do much to address morale or retention issues. Leadership development was pretty average. Readiness was uneven. And that's a problem when you're supposed to be the gold standard. For that, we're giving Thomas a 5 out of 10. Solid foundation, but no next level leadership. Now, equipping the Navy. This is where things start slipping. This is about giving our sailors the tools, the ships, the planes to dominate. And Thomas, he just didn't deliver. While other powers, especially the Soviets, were out there making leaps in nuclear submarines, we were stuck in neutral. The shipbuilding efforts during his tenure were focused on maintaining the status quo, not innovating or modernizing. You cannot win today's wars with yesterday's tools, and that's where Thomas dropped the ball. He's getting a 4 out of 10 here. You've got to do better when it comes to keeping us ahead of the curve. Now let's talk alignment with presidential policies. Thomas worked under Eisenhower. His leadership was guided by NSC 68, which was NSC 68 pretty much was all about containing Soviet influence through our military strength and economic stability. Thomas kept the Navy on track with Cold War priorities like global readiness and forward deployment, but let's keep it real. He was following the playbook, not writing new plays. His tenure was short, and there wasn't much in the way of transformative policies or standout initiatives. For sticking to the plan, but not doing much to elevate it, he gets a 7 out of 10. Finally, we've got budget efficiency. Now, handling the Navy's budget isn't for the faint of heart, but Thomas struggled here. Aircraft carrier modernization projects, bloated. Resource allocation, mismanaged. He didn't make the most of taxpayer dollars, and in the defense world, that's a huge no-go. You can't afford to waste resources when you are supposed to be building a fighting force second to none. So it's another 4 out of 10 for Secretary Thomas here. So let's tally it up. Recruitment, 6. Training, 5. equipping 4, alignment 7, budget 4. That gives Charles Thomas an overall score of 26 out of 50. That places him at 25th place out of 28 modern secretaries of the Navy. Here's the bottom line. Charles Thomas was steady, but he wasn't a game changer. He kept the Navy afloat during a critical time in history, but his lack of innovation and efficiency held him back. For today's leaders, his tenure is a reminder that being good isn't good enough. You've got to push boundaries, think ahead, and manage resources like a pro. Until next time, shipmates, stay ready, stay sharp, and always aim higher. Master Chief